Welcome to my basement, aka recording studio. Or at least one of the places where I've done recordings. I like this for a couple reasons. The background is nice and neutral. I've learned that having a neutral, non-distracting background is really helpful for students to focus on videos if they're going to see my face. There's also some room on the sides if I wanted to put some extra pictures in like post-production or some text. That's what I would need. The acoustics are really good. You also want a place that has non-distracting sounds right next to the water heater, but it's not on right now, so you can't hear that. And you also don't have the echo. I've recorded in my classroom, and you get all the classroom echoey sounds, or at least my classroom sounds like that a lot. I'm away from the dogs, not going to bark, things like that. So you don't need a perfect kind of environment, clearly, but just doing some of those things to mitigate or reduce those factors has really helped me, and somewhere I can kind of focus a bit. So finding your own basement or your own kind of spot could be really helpful for making your own videos. And again, it doesn't have to be really flashy. Really doesn't. Hey, so I'm going to record right here for just a couple minutes to let you know some things about how I make videos. Here I am in one of my spots in the car. It's a good place, like out of the house and free of distractions. Not too bad of a place to record. So I've actually recorded a lot of my earliest videos in the car. Some of them you couldn't see my face. Obviously here you can. I'm using QuickTime Player, which is on my school-assigned MacBook Air. It's a PC application as well, and there's just a real easy new movie recording, and I'm just using the webcam that's on my laptop right there, and lights up, and that's what I'm trying to look at. I've actually got the screen, the QuickTime screen is in one corner of my laptop, and actually when my eyes flicker, I'm looking over at my notes. I've got my notes in a Google Doc of what it is that I want to say. So that's a couple inside tricks for you. I'm using a lapel mic. There, see? I lost the little clip for it, so I'm using a binder clip. I know, real classy. But tuck that out of the shot, and see, you didn't even notice before, but it certainly makes the audio a bit better than the standard laptop microphone. Not a huge difference, but I like it just to make sure it's a bit clearer. And yeah, so I want to just show you how you can use your laptop. You can get doesn't have to be a real fancy place. I'll show you a little elsewhere how to do voiceover ones where there's some tools where you don't have to show your face, which sometimes is preferable. I've recorded kind of in the dark before as well. And yeah, it's something you can kind of do any place. I recorded a lot of my earliest ones in the parking lot while my kids were at an after-school activity. So it's another way to kind of be able to present something in your own kind of time when it's going to work for you, because your students are going to be watching the videos when it works for them. So it kind of goes both ways. So this is one of the ways I'll show you. And I'm not doing any special post-production or anything on this. I'm just going to stop recording and make sure that the sound works on it. And then I'm going to just upload this for you to see. So you're getting just the raw video. And once you've scripted out something well enough, and if you've presented it fairly well, which hopefully I have, that's good enough. That's what students are going to need. That's what your audience needs. So now I'm going to show you how to make a slideshow with a voiceover. I'm just on my regular laptop microphone right now, so I sound a little different, but you can't see me, so I can just show you things. Like the fact I'm using this Chrome extension, Screencastify. It takes a little bit to set up, slightly clunky, but they seem to be improving it. This is one fairly easy way to record things. And you can show images that you've got set up, like you've probably done slideshows before. You can have animated GIFs too. It'll just keep looping along those, so you got to be careful not to overuse those if that's possible, to overdo Aaron Burr. And you can do other little cues like this, like just changing the background color. Screencast-O-Matic is another one that some flippers use. It's another free, as far as I know, still free item that you can have. And I use mostly Office 365. It has some more features to it. I'm not showing you that right now. But that's another one. It does have a subscription fee, so pros and cons to that. But it does have more abilities for you. And basically, I'll just wrap up. Lets you have more multimedia than when you're just filming yourself. It certainly looks fancier. And for the teacher, there's the comfort level, because I'm wearing pajama pants right now, and you can't tell. I'm just in a sweatshirt here. My hair's probably a mess, but I can still make a fairly effective presentation, right? So, of course, another cool way to take a flip video to show your students is a cell phone. Oh, wait, I did it. I got portrait mode. Sorry, wait a minute. There we go. Always landscape mode, right? Always landscape mode. So this is a device you've always got with you to maybe record some kind of impromptu video, something like you just happen to think of. Of course, you have all the kind of random sounds around you, like these sirens and auto, but that kind of makes it a bit more realistic as well. Of course, another issue is that you don't have, or I haven't figured out how to set up a good microphone system, so you're kind of at the mercy of your cell phone's microphone, but you use it to make calls, and it seems to be working okay right now. I've used this actually also to preview a field trip. So I actually have an example of that I'm going to show you in a moment, of one where I set up the camera on like a sort of a stone wall, and I recorded 2 takes actually, and you're going to see one of those takes. This one's a little rocky because I'm holding the phone up myself. But again, if you want to show something to your students, like of you being right there, again, this is a device that you've always got with you to be able to record something and then upload it into your other kind of device to be able to get it to something that your students can see. But again, just something else you might not have thought of to be able to make a flip video and get something to your kids. All right, so let me show you that field trip one right now.
So the sound you hear is a sawmill, which is right in front of me over here, and it gets kind of loud, but it's run by water coming from a pond, spinning a wheel that ends up powering the saw, which is able to cut through the wood to make boards.
I recorded those little tutorials 2 years and about COVID-19 pounds ago for a separate kind of thing, but they still really seem to have some decent info. But there are some things I've learned since then, and I'm just going to add those into this video here as well. So I'm recording this bit right now on Zoom using the virtual background feature. I can't actually, and you can see the funky shadow there. I actually have a green screen here, so I can switch. There we go. So you can see the big green screen I've got behind me here. Now that feature actually works for any plain kind of background. I said something before about having a non-distracting background, but if you can get something like this, it doesn't have to be that kind of green. Actually, you could use something like this. I actually found this stuff. It's like I don't know, it's like Kermit the Frog type material here that no one wanted. Again, like some color like this, the reason it works is because it's the kind of color like nobody would wear, except again like Kermit. So this is something I've used before as well, but now I've got this big thing here, so I don't need that one. But what I'm doing actually right now here in Zoom is I can change the virtual background. So now I'm in the office. What I found this is really useful for either synchronous or asynchronous video is you can kind of switch around like immediately if you, instead of having to share screen. So as long as I have them sort of set up here, I could do a thing about like the looting of Governor Hutchinson's home in 1770s, or now I'm in like Finding Nemo world, and then I can do this. So that's again, just if you have the settings window open, you can click from one to another. Really cool kind of thing I started using in June. So that's one thing I didn't have before. Another one that I would strongly recommend it for lighting. This is something else that's a rather new thing you can get, a ring light. I think this is like $40 or so. It's on like a tripod. If you could even like have your cell phone like hooked up to it. It works as like a selfie stick. I'm actually using right now, I have, where I'm recording, I've got these fluorescent lights up above me. They make me look even paler than usual, but it's even lighting. So my shadows aren't too bad. I'm going to turn this thing on so you can see like what this would do. See, it does even more just like evening out of the light. So depending on what you have for a lighting situation, again, just for, personal sake or something for my own self, I like to, if I really got it set up above, then I don't have like the full like chin thing going on. So there are different ways. Well, of course, I would adjust the tripod better. But that's another way to make things like work even better for you. And I'm gonna pause. Okay, so the sound might be getting a bit different because I've detached my my Go mic. So in terms of cost of equipment, again, like I showed you like the ring light, like $40 or so. But again, only depending on what kind of lighting situation you already have. It's just good for like something portable. That's not too bad. This microphone was also like $40 at Best Buy. If anything, I would go for this, again, depending on your sound situation. Really a good sound is really important for students. Again, avoiding, like I said before, about like avoiding echoes, distractions like that. And maybe you don't really notice a difference right now between how I sound this way and how I sounded a minute ago when I detached this thing. It's cool because it just like clips right onto your laptop right up by the webcam. And the other thing that I'm doing is, I can't show you obviously, but on my computer where the webcam is and there's the little thing, I have sort of a bullseye kind of thing drawn. It's almost like looking like at an eyeball. So instead of me, like looking at myself, why do I want to see myself when I'm recording? Trying to do that has really helped, maybe, I don't know, hopefully connect better with my audience. So that's another like thing I'd strongly suggest, is trying for that kind of like eye contact. That seems to be something really helpful and important as well. Okay, well, a couple of final things. Camera placement. Right now I have moved my camera, for one thing. Of course, now you can see like my horrible basement ceiling. But worst of all, you've got that upward look. Now I've got COVID-19 chins going on here, and you got a full like view up my nostrils. Nobody needs to see that, right? So do whatever you can. I've used like board game boxes to like stack up my laptop before. If anything, you want it to be above where you are. There, this is a bit more flattering. And I'm having to look up towards, so you get more of my good side and so on. Again, just rookie kind of mistakes that can be sort of distracting and is going to make you feel worse perhaps about being on camera. Finally, beginnings and endings. I used to put a whole lot into introductions and closings, and probably noticed for this one, I just jumped right into it, threw up a little title screen and moved on. Think about the videos that you watch, right? Like you already know what it is that you're going to be watching. You don't need a whole introduction to it. And for your students as well, if you're presenting the lesson properly, right? Like, however you've mounted it on your LMS or your website or something like that, they know what they're getting. So why spend 30, 60 seconds telling them what's going to happen? Just do it. And same kind of thing for endings. I mean, you don't really need like a real fancy kind of ending. Just the video just stops because you're done.